Success isn't stopped by lack of talent. It isn't stopped by lack of opportunity. It is stopped by beliefs, invisible walls that keep us small, scared, and stagnant. Today we're going to uncover the 7 worst limiting beliefs that are secretly blocking your success, and more importantly, how to break them forever. These beliefs may have started as protection. They may have started as survival, but now they are holding you back from the life you deserve. I'm not good enough. I don't have what it takes. Others are smarter, luckier, or more capable. This belief is sneaky because it feels true. It whispers in your ear every time you think about pursuing a goal. Imagine a young entrepreneur trying to pitch their idea. They know their product is good, but when facing investors, the inner voice says, they'll laugh at you. You don't know enough. You'll fail. That voice stops action. It stops progress. It creates paralysis disguised as caution. Recognize that the voice is not you, it's fear. Write down all your past achievements, no matter how small. Take one small action daily that proves the voice wrong. Action destroys doubt. Reflection builds confidence. Remember, nobody starts perfect. Success is a process, not a test of worthiness. I'll start tomorrow. I can't, I'm too busy. I'll focus when I have time. Time is neutral. Everyone has the same 24 hours. This belief is really a fear of discomfort disguised as lack of time. A talented musician kept saying, I don't have time to practice. Years later, they watched others succeed while they waited. The only thing missing wasn't talent. It was discipline over excuses. Break large goals into micro steps. You don't find time, you make it. Fear of failure is the #1 silent killer of potential. Millions of small failures often in public. But failure isn't a stop sign. It's a teacher. A writer submitted manuscript after manuscript and got rejected dozens of times. Instead of quitting, they analyzed each rejection, improved, and rewrote. Now millions read their books worldwide. Redefine failure. It's feedback, not identity. Take imperfect action daily. Celebrate small wins even when imperfect. Growth only comes through attempting what scares you. This belief comes from comparison. Seeing others succeed can make you feel, they are lucky. They are smarter. They were born with advantages I don't have. Comparison is a trap because it undermines your confidence. It hides your unique potential. It keeps you stuck in waiting for permission from life. An aspiring entrepreneur always compared themselves to billionaires. They delayed starting their business for fear it wouldn't measure up. The breakthrough? Realizing that success is not a competition. Success is a personal journey, and your unique contribution matters. Stop comparing. Focus on progress. Write a personal success definition. Commit to daily action aligned with your version of success. Many people live under the silent weight of the belief that they are too late, that opportunities have passed them by, or that life is simply too difficult to overcome. This belief sneaks in quietly, often disguised as caution or practicality. You may look at others who have achieved success and think, I should have started sooner, or I could never reach that level. It's too hard. The truth is, it has never been about timing or ease. It is always about courage, persistence, and consistent effort. There is no perfect moment, and waiting for one is a trap. Imagine a woman who always dreamed of starting her own business but kept telling herself she was too old or inexperienced. Years passed as she watched peers launch, grow, and succeed. The regret built silently in the background, until one day she realized that her years of experience, her unique perspective, and her resilience were exactly what she needed to start. That moment of realization, paired with immediate action, shattered the illusion that it was too late. The lesson is simple yet profound. Life rewards those who act, not those who wait. Every day you delay is a day wasted. But every step forward, no matter how small, accumulates into unstoppable momentum. Start today. Start imperfectly. Start consistently. Another limiting belief that quietly erodes potential is the thought that one does not deserve success. It appears in subtle ways, often in the form of guilt, fear, or self-sabotage. You may find yourself thinking, I'm not worthy of this, or if I succeed, something bad will happen. This belief often stems from early life experiences, societal conditioning, or past failures. A man grew up in a household where achievement was met with jealousy or resentment, and unconsciously, He internalized the idea that success equals isolation or punishment. For decades, he avoided opportunities for growth, convinced that striving for more would disrupt relationships or invite judgment. The turning point came when he confronted the belief directly, writing down the fears it created and observing how irrational they were. He realized that success does not require permission from anyone, and his worth was not tied to anyone's approval. Every action he took after this awareness, from applying for promotions to investing in his skills, reinforced the truth that he deserved growth, prosperity, and recognition. You too must confront this invisible barrier. Write down the thoughts that tell you I am not worthy, and challenge them with evidence of your capabilities, your past successes, and your potential. Replace the guilt or fear with the understanding that seeking success is not selfish. It is your responsibility to yourself. The turning point came when he confronted the belief directly, writing down the fears it created and observing how irrational they were. He realized that success does not require permission from anyone, and his worth was not tied to anyone's approval. Every action he took after this awareness, from applying for promotions to investing in his skills, reinforced the truth that he deserved growth, prosperity, and recognition. You too must confront this invisible barrier. Write down the thoughts that tell you I am not worthy, and challenge them with evidence of your capabilities, your past successes, and your potential. Replace the guilt or fear with the understanding that seeking success is not selfish. It is your responsibility to yourself. Perfectionism is another belief that blocks success, often masquerading as high standards or discipline. It convinces you that you cannot take action unless every condition is ideal, that every plan must be flawless, or that every decision must be correct. The reality is, perfectionism is procrastination in disguise, and it thrives on fear. Consider a young writer who refused to submit articles unless every sentence was flawless. Weeks turned into months and months into years. The world moved on while the writer's work remained hidden, untapped, and unseen. The breakthrough came the moment she embraced imperfection, understanding that completed work, feedback, and iterations create growth far faster than delayed perfection. Action, even flawed, always produces more results than hesitation. Every professional, entrepreneur, and artist you admire has shipped imperfect work repeatedly, learned from mistakes, and improved along the way. To overcome this belief, practice launching imperfect projects, speaking up with unpolished ideas, and taking consistent steps even when conditions are not perfect. Every small action chips away at the illusion that perfection is necessary, and it builds confidence and momentum in its place. Doubt about one's own abilities is another silent killer. It manifests as constant questioning, hesitation, or overthinking, keeping you from committing fully to your goals. The inner voice asks, am I capable? Will I succeed? What if I fail? This belief thrives in uncertainty, waiting for external validation that may never come. A young athlete, gifted in skill but plagued by self-doubt, would train rigorously yet hesitate during competitions. Years of potential were wasted until a mentor helped him focus on process over judgment, on consistent effort over outcome. By taking action despite doubt and recognizing small victories along the way, the athlete gradually replaced fear with competence and confidence. The lesson is clear. Doubt is not a stop sign. It is a signal to act intentionally, to build evidence of your capability through action, and to internalize progress over external opinions. Fear of judgment, criticism, or social rejection is another belief that quietly dictates behavior. Many people avoid pursuing their dreams because of how others might perceive them, fearing ridicule or disapproval. A talented artist, for example, spent years hiding her work from public view, convinced it would be judged harshly. She told herself that criticism would define her worth, that rejection would confirm her inadequacy. The turning point came when she shared one painting at a local gallery. The response was not perfection, not universal praise, but encouragement, constructive feedback, and newfound confidence. This simple act of exposure shattered the belief that external opinion could control her destiny. Overcoming fear of judgment begins with small steps, sharing ideas, seeking feedback, and recognizing that the opinions of others are not reflections of your potential but merely perspectives. Courage is built in moments of discomfort, and success requires repeated practice of stepping beyond the fear of others' opinions. Many people are blocked by the belief that their circumstances define them. They think their background, finances, education, or connections limit what they can achieve. This belief convinces you that the cards you were dealt determine your outcome, ignoring the immense power of action, learning, and persistence. History is full of examples of individuals who defied circumstance. The entrepreneur who grew up in poverty, the author with no formal education who became a bestseller, the athlete overlooked in youth who later became a champion. Circumstances are neutral. Action determines the result. To overcome this belief, focus on what is within your control. Leverage available resources creatively, and commit to daily improvements. Circumstances cannot define your potential unless you let them. Finally, procrastination, disguised as waiting for the right time, is one of the most pervasive limiting beliefs. You may think that opportunity will appear magically, that preparation must be flawless, or that conditions must align perfectly. This belief keeps goals in the future indefinitely while comfort dominates the present. The truth is that the right time never exists. The universe rewards action, preparation, and persistence, not waiting. Many successful individuals began with imperfect resources, incomplete knowledge, and minimal support. They started, iterated, failed, and grew, proving that action, even in imperfect conditions, outweighs hesitation. The antidote to this belief is discipline. Schedule deliberate, consistent action, accept imperfection, and view every step as progress. The moment you commit to doing something today, the power of procrastination diminishes, and momentum begins to build. Breaking these 7 limiting beliefs requires courage, awareness, and consistent action. Each belief, if left unchecked, silently erodes potential and shapes your reality without your consent. Awareness alone is the first step. Action transforms awareness into freedom. By recognizing these beliefs, questioning their validity, replacing them with empowering alternatives, and taking deliberate steps every day, you begin to reclaim control over your life. Success is not determined by luck, timing, or innate talent. It is determined by mindset, by deliberate action, and by refusing to allow false narratives to define your path. Remember that every belief you challenge, every small step you take, and every moment you act despite fear brings you closer to your potential. The journey is not easy, but the liberation is profound, and the rewards are exponential. Many people are blocked by the misconception that circumstances define their potential. Financial limitations, family responsibilities, education, or social connections are often used as excuses to delay growth or justify inaction. While circumstances influence starting points, they do not dictate outcomes. History is filled with examples of individuals who overcame adversity through focus, resilience, and consistent effort. A man who grew up in a struggling household and worked multiple jobs to pursue his education eventually built a thriving business, not because luck intervened, but because he refused to let his circumstances decide his destiny. This belief is dismantled by recognizing what is within your control, taking responsibility for daily decisions, and committing to action, no matter how small. Circumstances may shape your path, but they cannot define your destination unless you allow them to. Procrastination often disguises itself as rational waiting, convincing people that preparation must be complete, or that the right time will eventually arrive. The truth is, readiness is never perfect, and the universe rewards action, persistence, and iteration over hesitation. Starting imperfectly, learning as you go, and adjusting strategies through experience produces far more results than waiting for a flawless moment. The moment you commit to taking deliberate action today, even in small steps, procrastination loses its power, and momentum begins to build. Each step reinforces your capability and gradually replaces the limiting belief that timing or conditions must be perfect, with the empowering belief that you can act now and learn along the way. Perfectionism, self-doubt, fear of judgment, and the idea that one is not worthy of success all interact to form a network of limiting beliefs that silently govern behavior. The individual who internalizes these beliefs often experiences anxiety, stagnation, and frustration, Believing the solution is external when it is entirely internal. Daily habits, intentional reflection, journaling, and deliberate action create new neural pathways that support growth. Resilience and courage. By actively choosing new thoughts, reinforcing empowering beliefs, and taking consistent steps toward your goals, the mind gradually rewires itself to support success rather than inhibit it. The ultimate lesson is that beliefs are not truths. They are narratives we tell ourselves. They are patterns of thinking reinforced by experience, fear, and habit. But they are also flexible, malleable, and replaceable. Every limiting belief you challenge, every small step you take despite discomfort, and every moment you act aligned with your potential weakens the hold these beliefs have over your life. Success is not determined by talent, luck, or timing. It is determined by mindset, consistent action. Every person has experienced the subtle weight of thoughts that whisper, "You can't," or "You're not ready." These beliefs are like invisible chains that wrap around the mind, quietly dictating decisions, actions, and even dreams. Most people never question them because they feel true, because they have been repeated over and over since childhood or early life experiences. A young woman, for example, dreamed of becoming a public speaker but was raised in a household where speaking up was frowned upon. Every time she tried to voice an idea, she was dismissed or ignored, and slowly, she internalized the belief that her words were not valuable. For years, she avoided opportunities to speak, convinced that the world was not ready for her voice. It wasn't until she consciously observed this belief, understood its origin, and decided to act despite discomfort that she began to reclaim her power. Her first speech was shaky, her hands trembled, and mistakes were made, but each moment of action weakened the old belief, proving to her brain that she was capable, that her voice mattered, and that success was not reserved for others but was something she could claim for herself. The process of breaking a limiting belief is rarely linear. Fear, doubt, and procrastination will reappear, often in disguise. A young entrepreneur may experience days of unstoppable action, followed by sudden hesitation, thoughts of inadequacy, and the familiar desire to retreat. This is normal, and it is a signal that the brain is protecting what it perceives as safety. The difference between those who succeed and those who remain trapped lies in persistence. Awareness without action achieves nothing. Confronting the fear, taking deliberate steps, and building evidence through repeated effort rewires the mind to accept new truths. Each small success, each moment of courage, acts as a deposit in a growing account of confidence and momentum. Over time, these deposits outweigh the old belief, until eventually it no longer has control. Every journey to success involves confronting the voice inside that says, "You can't," or "It's too hard." People who achieve extraordinary results are not those who never felt fear, doubt, or insecurity. They are the ones who acted despite it. Consider the story of a young professional who spent years feeling trapped by the belief that he was not ready for promotion. Each day, he told himself that his experience was insufficient, that others were more deserving, and that he should wait for the perfect moment. Yet life rarely waits. One day, after months of hesitation, he decided to step forward. He prepared as best as he could, submitted his proposal, and presented his ideas with courage. The outcome was not flawless. He faced questions, critique, and moments of discomfort, but the act of showing up shifted his trajectory. What was once a paralyzing belief began to weaken, replaced by the empowering realization that taking action matters more than being perfect. This story illustrates a universal truth. The moment you act, the limiting beliefs lose their control over you. Momentum is built not through grand gestures, but through consistent, small actions. Every day you commit to acting in alignment with your goals, you reinforce the new narrative that you are capable, deserving, and resilient. A young writer, who had believed for years that her ideas were not valuable, began writing just 500 words a day, without editing or overthinking. The progress was slow at first, but repetition created rhythm, confidence, and mastery. Each completed page, each small achievement, provided undeniable evidence that the old belief was a story, not a fact. Success is cumulative, and it grows when you treat each step, no matter how small, as a victory. This principle applies to every area of life: skills, career, relationships, and personal growth. Each deliberate action chips away at limiting beliefs, building a foundation for sustained achievement. Visualization and emotional rehearsal accelerate the process of breaking limiting beliefs. The mind does not distinguish between lived experience and vividly imagined experience. Athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, and leaders use this principle consistently by imagining success, feeling the emotions associated with it, and pairing those emotions with real-life action. You create a neural map of possibility that makes the previously impossible feel attainable. A young athlete who struggled with self-doubt began every training session by vividly picturing herself succeeding in competitions, visualizing the crowd, the energy, and the exhilaration of performance. Each session reinforced confidence, gradually replacing fear and hesitation with belief in her ability to achieve. Similarly, you can use visualization daily, combining it with deliberate action to rewrite your internal narrative and reinforce empowering beliefs. Surrounding yourself with the right environment and influences magnifies the power of transformation. Limiting beliefs thrive in isolation and in negative company. When you are constantly exposed to doubt, pessimism, or discouragement, your mind internalizes those messages and strengthens the old patterns. Conversely, surrounding yourself with mentors, peers, literature, and environments that reinforce growth, possibility, and resilience creates a feedback loop that accelerates change. Patience and self-compassion are essential throughout the process. Change rarely happens in a straight line. Doubts resurface, fears return, and old habits attempt to reclaim control. This is not failure. It is part of the rewiring process. A man who had believed his financial situation defined him made consistent effort to improve his skills and take advantage of opportunities, but he still experienced setbacks and frustration. Instead of retreating into despair, he treated each obstacle as feedback, extracting lessons and doubling down on effort. Each small victory, each corrected mistake, and each act of courage reinforced the new belief system. By practicing patience and compassion toward yourself, you create a stable foundation for lasting change, allowing empowerment to replace limitation over time. As you move forward, commit to daily practices that reinforce your new beliefs. Observe thoughts that limit you, write them down, and challenge them with evidence of your progress. Visualize success, experience it emotionally, and pair it with concrete steps. Surround yourself with people, mentors, and resources that elevate you, not diminish you. Celebrate each small victory, learn from setbacks, and treat the journey as evidence of your capability. In this way, every day becomes a deliberate act of transformation, and every action reinforces a life aligned with your true potential. Success is not an accident. It is a result of choosing to confront limiting beliefs, act consistently, and refuse to allow fear, doubt, or self-sabotage to dictate your life. Finally, remember that the person you were yesterday does not define who you are today or tomorrow. The limiting beliefs that once held you captive are not permanent. They are temporary narratives waiting to be rewritten. By recognizing them, confronting them, and taking action aligned with growth and possibility, you reclaim control of your life. Each step forward is proof that you are capable of far more than you realized. Every fear you confront, every doubt you challenge, and every old story you replace strengthens your path toward mastery. Your potential is vast, your possibilities limitless, and your success is only constrained by the beliefs you choose to hold or release. Act now, persist, and continue building the life you deserve. The journey begins with awareness, grows through action, and flourishes when you embrace the truth. You are capable, deserving, and unstoppable.